had their third practice this morning to the South Carolina Gamecocks. Y'all, if you've watched this show, we are enormously high on South Carolina. Enormously high. I love LaNorris Sellers. I love what they did last season. I love the way they finished last season. I love momentum. I love Shane Beamer, all those things. And I want to start with the vibe around South Carolina spring ball right now because I think that's actually really, really noteworthy. The feeling right now, the overall internal sentiment is, hey, can we take it a step further? I believe that was actually on their media release when they reached out to the rest of the media covering South Carolina. They said, hey, Coach Beamer wants to take it a step further this year. And they're feeding off of the fact they were so close but didn't get into the college football playoff. 9-3, almost got it done. A play here, a play there. They're 10-2, and they're in the dance. They watched the playoff, like you and me last year. And while that stings in 2024, it's something that it sounds like Shane Beamer is challenging his team with in 2025. I love that. I absolutely love that because that means there's an edge. That means there's no lack of competition internally. That means there's no complacency. Like I'm very, very excited to see what they are here in 2025. LaNorris Sellers, the intel on him is he's locked in. Everyone's going to say that about their quarterback this time of year, but the note on him is he's not impacted from what last year's success was in a positive way. If you're LaNorris Sellers, you went from being a guy that people thought would be good last year, this time a season ago. There's excitement for him and what he was as a recruit and all those things. But the question was, hey, can he pick up where Spencer Rattler left off? Can he keep the Spencer Rattler momentum intact? He's coming into the year, and I think he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. I think that what he did at the end of last season was as impressive as any quarterback in the country. He's not feeling any different about himself. He's not, impacted by the undoubted NIL money he got from last season. He's not acting different. Like all those things to me is like LaNorris Sellers is the same guy. He's sticking to what works, and he is still keeping that quiet confidence that he gives off as the quarterback at South Carolina. Now with that, he's working to be a more vocal leader, is what I have been told. That's obviously a good thing. You want your leader, especially at the quarterback position, to be a little bit more outspoken, and I think that's probably something that you would hope LaNorris Sellers does as he evolves as a leader at South Carolina. Now, the big thing with South Carolina when it comes to maximizing a LaNorris Sellers is, well, who is he throwing the football to? Nyck Harbor is a just freakazoid receiver for them. You knew about him being an absolute track star as well. Like, dude could legitimately be flirting with the Olympics if he decided that was what he was going to do. He's not running track this season. Reason why that's important, I don't think a lot of people realize this. Nyck Harbor did not early enroll at South Carolina. Okay, so no spring practice there. Last season, he's running track, so he's at spring ball, but he's mostly observing. He's not getting a full spring practice. This year, he's like, okay, I'm all in, all football. And that's encouraging to me because he should be, you would hope, your wide receiver one at South Carolina this year. With the physical tools, with the speed, with the size, all those things. If he becomes a true wide receiver one, a true big play threat for South Carolina, I don't think you have a lot of question marks around what the offense can be. They feel good about the offensive line. They feel like they are good enough at running back. Did some work via the portal there. If Nyck Harbor pops off and takes a massive step forward, the South Carolina offense is going to be very, very difficult to stop, y'all. Mike Fury, the wide receiver coach at South Carolina, has told Nyck Harbor he should work to want to be the best wide receiver on the planet, which sounds hyperbolic. Maybe it is a little bit, but given his physical skill set, to have your coach give you that vote of confidence, that should be one of your goals. I'm here for that. I'm here for hyperbolic confidence. I'm here for speaking life into your players in that way. So again, we'll see what he is as we progress here, but the fact that he's getting a full 15 practices to devote to just football, I love that. And also I love the mentality from Nyck Harbor. Sounds like he is in some way, shape, or form seeing what last year was for him and gets excited by that success and wants more for it. He's hungry for it, and that's obviously a very good thing for South Carolina fans. Now, another good thing for South Carolina fans, staying in the wide receiver room. South Carolina took 6 wide receivers this most recent recruiting class, 5 of them already on campus. Okay? It's good news. It's very, very good news. Even better news, all the ones on campus right now, South Carolina feels like they hit on. All right? They feel like they're all going to be players for them. They've all flashed with the part, all those things. If those guys, even a fraction of those guys can come along and get up to speed at the SEC level. That's just more weapons for LaNorris Sellers. That's more help for Nyck Harbor, and that ultimately will probably help South Carolina when it comes to what they don't need to do in the spring transfer portal. So it'll be a thing where if they have the right fit in the portal with a guy and they can find a receiver, they'll take him. But overall, I don't think South Carolina is in a spot where they absolutely need to go take a wide receiver via the portal, and that's a very, very good thing. Now, defensively, replacing a lot of production, they feel good about where they're at in the secondary. There's no replacing a Nick Emanwari, but Torian Gray, DB's coach for South Carolina, kind of has an old-school vibe to him. Taking some transfers, sure, but it's a thing where Torian Gray just always seems to have guys. It kind of follow the old-school model of wait your turn, develop, and when you're ready, you pop. Like Jalen Kilgore is a guy that's played for South Carolina. Obviously, they expect big things from him. Sounds like that's the vibe so far as well out of spring practice. He's trending in that right direction. The interior of the defensive line is the big question mark right now for South Carolina on defense. Got some guys that they think could help them. That's just something to monitor now. So go over to Gamecocks Central. Just monitor that a little bit when you're trying to keep up with all that's going on throughout spring practice. Brian Thomas Jr., the defensive line, is someone that they expect to not replace a Kyle Kennard, but maybe step up with the absence of a Kyle Kennard to the NFL. The reason why I highlight him is you got Dylan Stewart on the roster. You have arguably the best defensive player in college football with Caleb Downs coming back at Ohio State. It's probably the conversation between those two. I think Dylan Stewart benefited so much from Kyle Kennard being on the other side of him because you couldn't just double-team one of those dudes. If you double-team Dylan Stewart, then Kyle Kennard was getting home and vice versa. So this upcoming season, there is no Kyle Kennard. Can Brian Thomas Jr. win enough of those one-on-one battles when Dylan Stewart gets extra attention to keep the South Carolina line of scrimmage at the vicious spot that it was a season ago? Now, they are replacing some linebackers. A couple of guys to highlight so far. Sean Murphy is a transfer linebacker from Alabama, then to Florida State. Now he's at South Carolina. It's worth noting, I've been told that before Sean Murphy was taken by South Carolina in the portal, South Carolina got the stamp of approval from Nick Saban that he was a player they should take. If Nick Saban's saying you're a take, probably a good sign. Now, here's one more I want to make sure we highlight, and I'm going to look down at my notes to make sure I get the pronunciation right here. Justin Okoronkwo. All right, check that out. Justin Okoronkwo, linebacker from Germany, previously at Alabama. Now, I don't know how much stock you want to put in spring games, but you go watch the A-Day. A guy who was, fresh out of Germany, making plays during Alabama spring practice. Still guys in the SEC, so still teammates that are a lot of stars next to their name. Alabama doesn't really take low-star guys typically, so to be able to fly around, and I think he might have been the leading tackler in that game, or at least one of, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. So those are two guys to monitor throughout spring practice, but overall, South Carolina, it sounds like, is still going to be, I think, a version of what a lot of us thought they would be in the preseason. My take has always been, is South Carolina going to be the most talented roster in the SEC? Probably not. I think that would surprise a lot of us if that were the case. It doesn't mean they can't still go compete for the college football playoff. Why? Because of who you have at quarterback, because of who your head coach is, and overachieving is a word that gets thrown around, I think, in a negative connotation. That's not the case at all for Shane Beamer in South Carolina. They're a team that has done more throughout the course of the last couple of seasons than what's been expected, and they've done it in the margins. They've done it with their traits. They've done it in a gritty, find-a-way kind of fashion. And now you have a guy who's an absolute super freaking quarterback. You take the talent that he has, paired with those traits, paired with the taste of success from last season to build upon that. I love where South Carolina is. I love all the intel I'm hearing, and I cannot wait. Y'all, to watch them week one. And I believe their first game is in Atlanta as well. So just keep a pulse on that. We'll keep a pulse on spring practice as it pertains to South Carolina. I would encourage you to go check out all the intel over at Gamecock Central. Wes Mitchell, the entire team, just owning, dominating, choke holding all the coverage over there. So make sure you're locked and loaded over there for all of your South Carolina intel needs.